I did not know it was possible to fly a check ride in an electric aircraft.
I feel like I'm about 20% too big for this airplane. Just kind of like trying to...
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
A little fast.
But I'm flying with an examiner that administered one of the first ones.
But we think it was the first commercial practical test. No actual data to back that up, but we haven't found anything that says somebody else has done it. So...
Well, we'll let you tell us in the comments if you know better. So far, we're going to claim.
If somebody else did a commercial check ride in a Pipistrel Velis, let us know.
Yes. We're going to learn about how they pulled that off while diving into the world of electric aviation in this episode. This is Beta Technologies, and I'm going to learn how to fly what they're building here. Obviously, that is not the production line for the Pipistrel Velis. These little all-electric trainers are a key part of the fleet they've got at Beta Technologies because their philosophy is pilot-centric. Everybody that works here is invited to learn to fly, and if they're already a pilot, they can upgrade their ratings.
We got 400 people in flight school here, which is awesome because they all want to fly this thing.
Right.
So you look at all these aerodynamics here and you say, how do you get to a high lift over drag ratio with something that you're dragging around these propellers?
Kyle is the CEO, and this is the A250 VTOL version of Alia. This is what they're designing, building, and testing here. They invited me for a few intensive days to get fully immersed into the day-to-day operations. It started with a dawn test flight where I was on board with Nate flying the A-Star Chase helicopter, followed by some training in the sim.
Whatever yaw input you think you need, just try to lock that yaw input in, and don't try to make it perfect.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let myself slip back to the center line.
You probably can go to idle instead of drag. There you go.
A few weeks after the test program was complete was the road show with Alia. The team flew her from Vermont to California, and I got some stick time for a few legs, including what might have been the first all-electric flight over the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, you want the controls?
Sure, yeah.
Your controls.
No
feet?
No
yeah.
pedals. Okay.
And there.
7887 November.
So just light pressures.
So this is going to be a multi-part series learning how to fly this airplane. And if you're not familiar, what I typically fly is an RV-14. This airplane is a little bit of a compromise for aerobatics, but it is an awesome IFR cross-country platform. And coincidentally, we're currently working on a deep dive into lithium batteries in aviation. This aircraft is powered by an EarthX Lithium Battery, and it's been interesting to overlap that with what I learned here. So one of the engineers here, Mikey, is working on building the charge infrastructure for these eVTOLs. He's one of the first people, if not the first person, to do a commercial flight test in an electric aircraft. For several reasons that we'll get into, he needed 2 of these things for his check ride, and I'm going to fly one of them.
It's part of us just moving our flight training in the direction that our overall vision is right. So starting to rebrand the flight training at Beta and our whole flight program to more sustainable electric.
Noah was Mikey's CPL flight test examiner, and we talked about how that plan came together.
I don't know. I think it was like a mutual idea that it could be a possibility. And I looked into it, and from the testing side of things, everything was good, and Mikey kind of took it from there.
Yeah, we were just brainstorming one day. You were like, well, it'd be a bit of a challenge to do transitioning from the 172 over to this aircraft.
So it was fitting that my first flight in this airframe was with Noah.
So, startup. Turn the master and the avionics switch on for me.
Have we made sure this is back?
Yep, exactly. Yep. Now, to start the airplane, we just have to turn the battery on and the power on.
Okay.
And then, if you push this forward, we're gonna go.
Yeah.
The prop will not move prior to you pushing the power lever forward.
So we're making sure that's back.
Yep.
Brakes on just in case.
But before we do that,
yep,
just so that we save a little bit of energy, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our weather, tell clearance. We've got a number 2 with us, and then we're gonna get a little formation flight. Headset on.
Try, you got me?
Yep, loud and clear.
If you notice the artwork on the hangar doors there, it's a flock of Arctic terns. Beta's engineers used biomimicry to inform the design of Alia, and the Arctic tern is the farthest known migrating bird. So I guess this is a good example of what you guys offer here to any of the employees. Like, you want to fly something? What's your experience level? Let's go take you to the next level. Let's go fly something new.
Yeah.
So for me, I've got a fair bit of experience in different types and different ratings, but I've never flown an electric airplane.
Yeah.
So this will be like a first for me.
It's cool, these electric airplanes that we have, they're certified light sport. So you could do your first training flight in this airplane. So for us, it's one of our day-to-day trainers. So we're gonna take off, follow Lake Champlain to the south a little bit, and we'll be having Mike follow us in one of our gimbal helicopters. So we'll do a little formation flight and get some cool shots as we're flying.
Okay, we met the other day with Steve.
All right, so before we start moving, we'll just turn battery and power on, and we're clear.
Yeah, those are no longer X'd
Yep.
out.
And then we have engine status. All right, why don't we just putz over that way, and I'll call up ground on the way.
So definitely the weirdest thing to me about this airplane was that when the throttle is set to 0 thrust, the prop just is not spinning. So if you pull the power back while you're taxiing, it'll stop the prop. From my perspective, the maneuvering fundamentally wasn't that different. I'm just thinking from a flight test perspective, especially commercial, you got to do fuel planning and cross-country planning. Now you have to do energy management, or what is even the term for that?
You said it, energy management.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys have 1 hour of cruise flight time available, and so you have to plan your cross countries, as it were, pretty carefully from an energy management perspective. So myself and the CFI that I was primarily working with spent a lot of time going up and collecting actual data on climb performance, cruise performance, and kind of validating that with what was actually written into the POH, and finding, okay, well, where does this kind of vary from the POH, and how does temperature affect that? And we ended up basically building our own model.
You can see right now it's showing us we got an hour and 1 minute with 100% charge.
Yep.
And you'll see that on takeoff, it's going to go down to like 15 minutes.
In terms of like regular GA kind of thought process, so you got RPM, obviously that's the same, and then think of that as like manifold pressure, maybe that's your power setting.
Yeah, you can see that, but it's also kind of also like fuel burn.
Right. Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Combined.
Exactly.
So I'll just kill the power and let us coast there.
Yeah.
See if I can do it without brakes. Prop will stop. Very weird.
Super quiet.
I did that a little early.
And then what we're going to do here is we are going to do a power check. We're just going to bring it up to 100% and make sure we get all the right indications. So yeah, brakes, and then we're going to prop areas clear, power level. We're going to go full power all the way forward.
Right to the firewall.
All right to the firewall. And we want to see 50 kilowatts. All right, there we go. So bring it back to idle.
That went well over, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So we just need at least 50 kilowatts.
Okay, so as long as it hits that, we bring it right back.
And you just keep it at idle, let the prop stop. That's our power. That's our run up.
Okay. All right.
And so we got all of our indications are good. Power level's cut off. No warning, cautions, nothing up here.
It was pretty interesting, like doing the exercise, actually planning an actual flight cross country in this guy.
I think one of the things that I thought was, from my perspective, Mikey went through and he did, I don't know what you did, because it's like super engineer things with math. Yeah, so he figured out exactly how much energy it would take to do each maneuver. Wow. And then, the time for each maneuver, and broke it down and figured out the most efficient way to do everything. So that was kind of the key to success.
So other than that, fundamentally, beyond that new aspect of it, what else did you find was different?
The airframe is a little more slippery than, your typical 172 trainer that a lot of people do these tests in. So energy management, not just from the battery perspective, but from aerodynamics and flight performance perspective, is a little bit different than what people will typically train and test on.
We'll get to the landing glide ratio in a minute, but first, I was very impressed with the takeoff performance.
We're going to rotate at 50, okay, climb about 60.
Okay.
It's going to jump off the ground. Okay. Super quick.
You'll be PIC. They glide so well that almost at any point we're coming back to the airport.
Oh, okay.
The plan is not to land off airport if something happens to our engine.
Okay.
Okay. So, and I'll take controls if that happens.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay? But other than that, you're flying the airplane, and I'm just gonna talk you through it. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. We are ready to go. Once we're at a safe altitude, about 400 feet AGL, we'll bring the power back to our max continuous with this 48 kilowatts.
Okay.
But on takeoff, we're just gonna go full power.
Firewall. So it doesn't matter if it goes past 50?
Correct.
Yep.
Tower 803 Echo Papa flight. We are ready for departure.
803 Echo Papa Burns Tower, runway 15 at Alpha, turn right heading 190, clear for takeoff.
Right heading 190, clear for takeoff, runway 33 at Alpha. 803 Echo Papa flight.
So we'll just take it on the roll?
Yep.
So the calls will just be power set, airspeed's alive?
Correct. It's a normal airplane, it just has different motor, different engine. Let's do it.
Okay, power is set, airspeed is alive. Looking outside.
And we are ready to fly.
So I'm going for 50. Okay. So I can really pitch up. Wow.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I did not expect this kind of performance. Wow,
So-
I'm still fast.
So let's pull the power back to 48 because the heli is going to have a little bit of a hard time keeping up with us if we're really cranking it. So 48 kilowatts is our maximum continuous, so we'll just set it right there.
I don't believe anybody should be building airplanes, designing airplanes, buying parts for airplanes unless they know how to fly an airplane.
That's awesome. So tell me what you've got here.
Oh, we've got about 50 different tail numbers that are accessible by everybody here. We've got Airbus helicopters, Cirrus, Husky, PA-12, Piper Pacer, G2 helicopters, Alpha trainers, got electric trainers. We've got 172 to 182s. We've got Beaver. We've got a couple Stearman. I don't know, I lose track sometimes. You know, from an engineering perspective, it's like a lesson in aircraft design.
And before getting back on board the Pipistrel with Noah, here's some training with Nate in the Alia sim.
So in the pattern, I like to generally what I do when we're set up downwind, we'll do our before landing check. It's pretty complicated. We don't have flaps, we don't have gear, we don't have a prop, we don't have anything else to adjust. So we're in landing configuration. The only thing we're going to check is we're going to pump the brakes, make sure that they still have pressure.
And what, just by the pedals not being squishy?
We'll make sure that the light's on and that our seats are belted. So you're looking a little high, you're looking at the PAP, these are a little high now, so go and pull it to that drag region. And then just maintain your airspeed.
I just feel, visually I feel low, but
yeah, it
really flies like an ILS, like glide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Engine off, it'll fly about a 4-degree glide path.
Amazing. So why did you need 2 airplanes?
Well, because we couldn't accomplish all of the tasks in the air with
the time allotted.
With the time allotted that we can stay in the air with one airplane.
Right.
So
okay.
while we were in the air, we had a second airplane charging. We did as much as we could, came back, put the airplane we had been flying on the charger, and then took the fresh one out and finished everything. We did all of our takeoffs and landings on that second flight.
How are they doing? Are they with us?
Yep, they're trying to keep up there.
So should I pull it back and we're at 36?
Yeah. And remember, the less power you're using, the more endurance you have.
Yeah.
So like, I'm always trying to pull it back as much as I can and still get the performance that I need.
Which we're just crushing it right now.
We're crushing it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's super light pressure.
Yep. And you have electric trim down here. Sorry,
I'm not really needing it, but it seems neutral was doing well. Ton of visibility. That's very cool.
Yeah, super awesome.
Almost feels like a helicopter.
Yeah. The cool thing about, having these airplanes is that, we've got all these, career pilots that work at Beta, like Nate Doobie, Army helicopter pilot, Mike Mastandrea, who's flying the heli. He's also one of the phenom pilots, and his main job here is an accountant, right? So we've got all these people that do these different jobs that are also flying, they're instructing, and someday they'll be flying CX300.
Yeah,
and it's cool to have these airplanes because it's this easy way for us to transition somebody into an electric airplane and get that experience before they jump in the thing that we're building, right? So it's just all part of this culture that we have at Beta around aviation. I think it's part of what makes this so special.
It's very cool. I'd love to work here. All right, so a couple clearing turns to see no one's around.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm clear left, so we'll just kind of. But it needs more rudder than I expected.
Yep, it does, and a big part of that is the adverse yaw that's created by the full span ailerons.
Right. All right, so steep turn left.
Yeah, let's do a steep turn left.
Okay, clear left. Now bump in a little bit of power, give it lots of rudder. Yeah, it takes way more than I thought. Look at that ball.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And you don't really need actually very much power. You maintain speed. The speed does not bleed off.
Okay, yeah.
So see how now you're accelerating?
Yeah.
So just keep it at like 20 kilowatts and you'll be totally fine. All right.
I'll reverse it.
Yeah. You can see him right there?
Yep.
Over to Boston Center on 35.7.
Yeah, that takes a lot more rudder pressure than I expected.
Yep.
And I guess the tail has like no footprint in the air, so it's easy to swing around.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that tube.
Approach, roger, expect visual approach, runway 15, descend and maintain 7,000.
I'll just pick up this road.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, you want like transition to slow flight or something?
Yeah, let's do it.
So just do it like I would in a regular airplane. Just hold the speed, pull the power back. And
you got it.
What are we expecting to field buffet at what speed?
Well, it's pretty cold out, so you know, we'll probably in the mid 50s. Feel the haptics go off.
Yeah, there it is. So just let it happen.
Let it happen. It's not really going to break.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like
We're not losing altitude yet.
This is it.
Okay, wow. It's still holding altitude. Now we're losing it.
Yep.
So there's the mush. I'm just using rudders.
Yep.
So just recover?
You can just recover here.
Hello, this is Charlie Dolphin.
So I was really trying to lose altitude and it just barely lost any.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Super stable.
Yeah.
In the stall, like it's not trying to break one way or the other. You could try you could do like a 40 kilowatt power on stall if you wanted.
Okay. I feel like it's gonna just climb like a banshee while we do that. So just give
it a shot. Yeah. Just like keep it right here and see what that feels like.
110 for 70 Romeo.
Yeah, it's not really decelerating, so I need more.
So just a little bit more back pressure. There's the haptics. A little bit more. Just keep pulling. Just keep pulling. Keep pulling. Keep pulling. Keep pulling. Keep pulling.
There it is. Yep.
Stall.
Departure helicopter 371 Pop Alpha.
Nice.
Inbound.
Yeah, that's very stable.
Let's do some full flap slow flight and see what that feels like.
Yeah, let's make sure we're in the white arc.
Yep.
Yep.
We got 65 for flaps too.
Oh, okay.
So we got to slow down a little bit more.
There it is.
There's 60. So you got +1, +2.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so just hang out here.
Just slow down until you hear your buzzer go off, and then add a couple knots on top of that.
We're so pitched up. Eh?
Yeah. We're drifting left a little bit, so we can start to come right a little bit.
There it is.
47. So it's like right on what VSO is placarded as. Well, yeah, we can fly around at 50. Want to make a little bit of a right turn before we fly into these clouds here.
Recon 72, roger. Brickyard 3643, fly heading 0.
I'll just ride the buffet there.
Yeah.
Vector 4, visual approach 1000.
Yeah, it's got lots of authority still.
Yeah, I mean those ailerons, those ailerons are all there.
It'd be hard to get yourself here and not know it, like accidentally.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it flies so well.
Yeah.
But then also you have the haptics, and then the stall is so docile that you might be right on the edge of it and you might not know it at all.
Yep.
You don't get this sort of break you might in a 172 or anything. And so you can see, like, we still have 66%, you know, and so, you know, these airplanes, we have the ability to come out here to the practice area, do some ground reference maneuvers, deep turns, slow flight, stalls, and, like, that's super valuable for a student. You keep the lessons short enough so that they can actually take in what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And then we go back, we debrief, and then...
A great trainer, yeah.
That's what we love about them, and, you know, it's a little chilly in the winter, but, like, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right? Like, it's nothing crazy.
Especially if you're in the hot seat. All right, so I'll get rid of some flaps and recover.
Yeah. Just watch for the sink that might develop.
Yeah, I'm trying to get down anyway. We're a little high. All right, so let's just brief the pattern numbers.
Yeah. So we're gonna be just 75 in the downwind, and then a beam, our touchdown point. The power is gonna go to idle. Okay.
Okay.
Flaps 1. And then we'll just maintain about like 75 in the pattern, and then slow it down to 65 coming into final, so we can go flaps 2, and then we'll be 60 on final, so we have a little bit of a buffer for our flap speed.
Roger.
So we're really low to the ground right now. So most folks, their tendency is to round out a little high. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through the round out. You do have quite a bit of stick travel, okay?
Yep.
And it's unless you really pull the stick back hard, you're not going to hit the tail.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll just hold it off, let the airplane land. We're going to be landing in the 40s.
Okay.
You have any questions?
I think that all makes sense, and just not over control because I know it got effective ailerons.
Yeah, very, very effective. All right, cool. So we'll bring it to idle here. Below 75, flaps 1.
So now?
Yep.
Yeah, shot right past that detent last time. And then we're aiming for a 65 now?
Yeah, right about there, or somewhere in 65 to 70. And we can make our base turn, actually. And feel free to use the power if you need to. Yeah, that idle is just kind of the starting point. Because you really don't need very much at all, right? It glides so well.
I feel like we're still pretty good.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape here. And we can start slowing to 65 so we can get flaps 2. So power's all the way back.
Over here, 3643 inbound runway
65 flaps 2. And we'll try to hold 60. And that little, the flaps give you that little oral cue if you're getting a little fast.
Roger.
All right. So you can really just, aiming point can be the numbers, and that'll put us in a pretty good place.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. It whistles right when you get to 65.
Yeah. Be a little before. All right, so we're cleared for the option. Numbers 2 is cleared for full stop. Good.
Back.
So wind is pretty much right down the runway.
Go fast.
Yeah. And you can be as slow as like 55. We're doing okay here.
Good descent rate there.
Yep, a little bit of a descent rate. Yeah, a little high for the round out. Let it keep coming down.
I'm just aiming for after that.
Power's idle, and now we can just let it come down onto the ground. There we go. Good. All right, flaps to 1, not down, just 1 plus 1. There we go. Yep. And add the power.
Tower, helicopter 371 pop Alpha's up with you in Fifth Valley West right.
Power set.
And we're ready to fly.
Yeah, so power off 180 was probably different. So I just got to experience that, and I was setting myself up higher than I needed to be, but it's very hard to break that habit when you're flying things that come down steeper. I guess it's a better problem to have. It's easier to come down than it is.
Unless you've got a short field, you got to make.
This is true. Yeah. But even still, I did find, like you showed me, it can really slip if you needed to. So if you've got to drop some altitude, you can scrub it off without getting a bunch of speed.
Yep.
So
and the difference between the gas variant of this is that the electrics don't come with the air brakes that the gas ones do. So you actually have to manage your energy well on your way down on that maneuver.
Give it a little slip to see what that feels like.
Tower, Skyhawk 959, Julie Alpha holding short.
That's a fraction of the rudder that you can put in.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
Push on it.
There we go. Okay, yep.
Yeah, you fall out of the sky.
It's way more pedal pressure than I expected for a little thing.
Yeah. You have a lot of rudder authority. There was a lot of work that Mikey did behind the scenes to make the check ride work.
Right, so you kind of worked out your high maneuvers first and don't redundantly climb.
Mm-hmm.
Plan your, just like an aerobatic sequence or something, plan your energy management so that you don't end up in a place with the wrong energy profile.
Yep,
yeah.
Exactly.
That was the key.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun trying to game that out and figure out exactly how we could do this in the fewest number of flights with the fewest number of aircraft possible. Yeah.
All right, well, congrats on pulling that off.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, thanks for flying with me today.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Still to come in this series,
So now, as we get down here, your goal is to get down to 5 feet and then just hold back pressure just to hold the nose off.
Some solid training in the sim, and then flying Alia for real. Until then, keep your flight chops sharp.
Yeah, I had a lot more like pressure on the rudder pedals. That's my biggest unexpected thing. Like super light controls, but you got to really put a good amount of pressure on the rudder. So I was always dainty on it because I was like, it needed more pressure than I expected to get the input that I wanted.
Yeah, I kind of let you just feel it out, and you did a nice job.
Cool, appreciate it.
I couldn't believe you guys outtimed us like crazy.
And I was holding it back. Like I was like,
oh yeah, we were pulling
I could have
back.
just gone. I felt like it's way too much pitch up, and I was still going blasting through the speed we talked about for climb. Like it would have climbed to 60, and we were doing like 80, going like 30-degree nose up or something. Is that what it was? Like I wasn't looking at
that's probably 20. It feels like 30,
like,
but
wow.
it's not quite there.
Yeah.